Good morning. My name is Jacob Booth, and I am the Weird Christian Dude. Today we'll be studying Genesis chapter 8. And God remembered Noah, and every living thing, and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. Assuaged is a uncommon word. It means to mitigate or soften. So basically, the storms became less stormy. Verse 2. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of 150 days, the waters were abated. So the flood came from both the sky and groundwater at the same time, uh, raining in springs, and God made that stop. And it said after 150 days, so that is exactly 5 months, the waters were abated. Another difficult word, not in common usage. So abated means to lessen or diminish. Basically, clear skies. So it was now pleasant out. Verse 4. And the ark rested in the 7th month, and on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountain of Arat. So this is very specific, as it's exactly 5 months, not approximate. It literally gives the day that it happened. And Mount Arat is in Turkey. It's actually the highest mountain in that region. So settle on that mountain sort of makes sense. That is apparently where God wanted to start over, because as far as I can tell, there was no rudder or sail or anything, any way to control the ark. It just floated and bobbed in the ocean to wherever God wanted it to go. So just like God sealed them in, God set them down also. It's interesting. There's an ark in the Netherlands made by Johan, and it is a functional ark themed barge. It's not exactly the construction of the ark, but it's a barge to about the size, and it actually floats. I think it was going to be floated from the Netherlands to Brazil for the Olympic Games, but then that got canceled. But it's still an interesting thing that one guy decided to do. He felt the need to show people what it was actually like. Verse 5. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. So gradually, the water is going down. It's Think of it as like draining a bathtub. It doesn't go all at one time. It goes down slowly. Verse 6. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark, which he had made. That's the tiny little 18-inch square window at the very top of the ark, kind of like a manhole or like a submarine. And he sent forth a raven, which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. So it just flew around. Didn't really do anything. Verse 8. And he sent forth a dove for him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the earth. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand, and took her, and pulled her in unto him into the ark. So there's no other windows or like portholes or anything in the side of the ark, so they can't see what's actually out there. So by sending a bird, Noah is testing as to whether there's land for it to stop on and rest, and there wasn't, so it came back because there was only the ark. That was it. No food for it to gather from. So even if there was mountaintops, there's just rock. So verse 10. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and again went forth at the dove out of the ark. And the dove came into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. So it's getting there. The dove found something to eat that started growing, but it still wasn't done. So Noah waited 7 more days, and he stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. So that's the third try, I guess. Success. First time, the dove went out and came back. Second time, came back with a branch, and third time didn't come back. So it found somewhere to nest and stay on a permanent basis. Verse 13. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, in the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the face of the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, was the earth dry. And God spake unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. So this is a very precise timing. They kept track of exactly the days and the months. And it was an overall 1 year and 10 days from when it first started the flood until they were leaving the ark again. Verse 17. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. So God is restating his original command to Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth. Didn't say this one, but that's what it is. Basically, God gave humanity a mulligan. Like, you get one redo, and that's this. So, starting over, verse 18. And Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth, after their kinds, went forth out of the ark. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast, and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. So this is a sacrifice of gratitude, because God just gave him commands to go forth, be fruitful, and multiply, not to sacrifice to him. So Noah's choosing to do this, just like in Genesis chapter 4, where Cain and Abel chose to give sacrifices of their wheat and or grain and cattle because they wanted to. So, verse 21, and the Lord smelled a sweet savor. I mean, that he appreciates that this is a sacrifice of gratitude. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done. So this is actually 3 important things come in this. Firstly, God uncurses the ground. So in Genesis chapter 3, verse 17, God cursed the ground because of Adam's sin, and when he ate the apple that he wasn't supposed to eat. Not apple, fruit. Sorry. It's always portrayed as an apple. I don't know why. But it doesn't say what fruit it was. But the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil that he wasn't supposed to eat, he ate it, and God cursed the ground. Well, he's uncursing it. Number 2, it says that people are inherently evil. Sorry, that's the way it is. So a lot of modern culture wants you to think that people are inherently good. Just something happened that made them make bad choices, and that's partly true. But people are inherently evil. The imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. So sin is incorporated into our being at this point. However, the third thing is God promises restraint of punishment on himself. He promises to restrain himself and to never again smite every living thing. It's not all punishment, but he is less severe than he could be because he chooses to be. There's really no reason. We can't force him to do anything, but that's what he decided. Verse 22. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So this is seasons and time, and we all understand those things normally. But this also means there is no ice age. That never happened. A lot of the things that are attributed to an ice age or millions of years is actually the result of the flood that just happened here. And fossils are preserved from sediment and pressure because normally when things die, they decompose and there are no fossils. So that's the only way fossils exist, is to be covered quickly and have high pressure, and that doesn't happen any other way. This also means that there is no global warming, that climate change is nonsense, that doesn't happen. There is seasons and heat and cold, and it's just always the way it's always going to be. There's summer and winter. That's just a fact. Sometimes winter is really cold, or we had a polar vortex with like negative 25 degrees not long ago. And last year, we had 2 snowfalls, and it was like 60 degrees in January. So the seasons are different from each other. That's just the way it is. So thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening, and you are always welcome to come and talk to me.